Hi, I'm Elaine Brewster. Welcome to Aspects of Energy, a forum where we talk about ways that we can raise your energy. And today we have one of my favorite topics. We're going to talk about how the brain creates manifestations, let's call it, in the body. And we have with us Caryn Willens today, who is a naturopath. She's also a yoga instructor, and I was able to do yoga with her on the beach in San Diego, which was something she really wanted to do. I've known Caryn for about 3.5 years now, and I have to say that when I first met you, Caryn, I had been told that you were just getting over some really serious health challenges, and you were still pretty fragile. And so I thought, oh, wow, if this is up from where she has been, where was she? And it was, you told me it was the company Nikken and their wonderful energy products that helped to bring you up from the abyss. So hopefully we're just going to give you some time and you can tell us your story and also tell us, some of these things. This is a really important topic to me, and because I've mentioned before in the book that I wrote about my husband's cancer journey, one of the things that I really wanted people to know in reading the book was that the mind is connected to the body. It's not separate. I had several people come up to me after he died, and they were all surprised that he had died because he was so athletic. And one even said, he ate well, didn't he? Well, yes, he ate well. And yes, he was very athletic and very healthy, but there are other things going on that create our whole total well-being. Wouldn't you say so, Caryn?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, and I'm just going to turn it to you.
Okay, thanks, Elaine. My journey actually started about 36 years ago. I was under a lot of stress. My life was kind of a mess physically as well as emotionally. And I ended up in the hospital for 8 days. And I was told I would be sick for the rest of my life with a very disruptive disorder. And it was difficult to function. I kept working, even though it was a struggle. And I was a dental hygienist at the time, which is very physically demanding. And it got to the point a little over 20 years ago where I developed another disability. And I had to retire from dental hygiene. And I decided, well, I'm too young to retire. So what am I going to do when I grow up, so to speak? And I decided that I wanted to work more with natural health. Over the 36 years, I had been introduced to doing things naturally. I was not raised that way. And as I started learning more and more, and all of the things that I learned were from my needs, my body physically was a mess. And I'll get into that a little bit more in a few minutes. But so I went back to school to learn natural health, and I could actually feel my body deteriorating, even though I was doing everything right with natural health. And at that point, Nikken came into my life. And I have been able to not only get better from the second disability, but from the first one as well. And now I know it causes both of them. And I like sharing that with people because it had such a profound impact in my life. And so, Elaine, when you and I met 3.5 years ago, I was still recovering, so to speak. And Nikken, being able to rely on Nikken, I didn't go backwards. I only went forwards, which was quite a new sensation for me. And so I'm very grateful to Nikken and the technologies. So as a naturopath and in Nikken, what I have been able to do, I've learned techniques that Nikken has encouraged, that are connecting our thoughts and our emotions with our physical body and the ailments. And this is something that I did about 13 years ago. There was a training that I attended, and I'm certified as a facilitator for personal development. And when I did that, it was actually the fulfillment of a 20-year dream. So talk about our life cycle plan. Okay, this was something that I had in my heart. It wasn't on my life cycle plan. And so it became fulfilled about 13 years ago. And I became certified as a facilitator for personal development. And the book that this training works off of is called You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. And she's been in the personal development realm for about 50 years or so. And she actually connects different thought patterns with physical ailments in the body. So going back to when I was in the hospital, I literally stayed there for 8 days. And I said, listen, God, whatever it is I'm here to do, I can't do it this way. If you help me find the way to get well, I'll help anybody I can. And lo and behold, the first answer I found was the emotional connection with physical health. That's when I first found Louise's book. And so over the years, I worked with that book on my own, and it helped me get well. I also became certified in an emotion code practitioner. And so I actually release those energy patterns that are stuck, that are developed in the brain. So what happens with the brain, and this is the meat of the program, okay? What happens with the brain is we have patterns that are established in childhood. It can be established during the birth process. It can be established during an injury in childhood. It can be established with parents or with situations that we encounter in childhood. And we develop survival mechanisms. And that is programming our brain. And when that happens, our brain sends the message to the rest of the body. So our hormones, our glandular system, they emit chemicals based on those messages from the brain. And those chemicals get sent to different parts of the body as messages. And these messages can be incorrect based on those childhood experiences, even adult experiences. And what happens is this cascade of ill health over time. And we input that wrong information, not on purpose. We don't even realize it's there. And so the techniques that I've learned actually help release that. And then I recommend Nikken, the technologies and the nutritionals, as support tools, because they help the energy reestablish. So when those biochemicals fire incorrectly, they actually change our healthy DNA into an unhealthy DNA. It programs the body incorrectly, and our health goes down. When we change the pattern, when we release that energy pattern that's unhealthy, we use the Nikken tools, we can actually reestablish a healthy DNA. And that's what I have done over the last 17 and a half years. And that's why I'm getting better as I get older, and I'm aging gracefully now, and I love it.
Well, you look about 1,000 times better than when I met you 3.5 years ago.
Yes.
You're just more vibrant. Sandra's over there laughing. You just look more vibrant. Just everything about you looks more whole and more healthy. I love how you have brought these two together. For anybody that might be looking at this YouTube later, Nikken, Nikken, is a Japanese, we'll call it a prevention company because it came from Japan, and that's what they do is prevention. But my sister had some of the products, and then she died from breast cancer. And her daughter, who was a nurse, got mad at me after my sister died. And she said, my mother, my sister, anyway, she said, my mother was using Nikken products. Why did she die? And I didn't really have a good answer for that, but I just sensed these were not to kill cancer. They were, like you said, for maintenance and to help restore the body.
We have to address the mind and the body together. In fact, in naturopathy, I was taught that all disorders, all diseases start in the mind. They start in the emotions. And that's what I learned 36 years ago. And that's why I wanted to, I started absorbing that information like a sponge. Okay. And I live by it every moment of every day. I catch my own thought patterns. I listen to my body and what it's telling me. And then I know it's sitting in a chair for me. I love writing. And so I like spending time at the computer, but my body doesn't.
Oh.
So it's like, okay, I have to do this differently. So I have to work together with my body and the messages that it's getting from my brain.
What other kinds of things do you do, Caryn, to help release when you do notice something?
Physically, emotionally?
Probably more physically.
Physically? Well, I will get up and I will stretch. I'll go for a walk when the weather is nice. I live in Wisconsin, so we get bad weather 8 months out of the year here. And this year it's proving to be 12 months out of the year. The summer's not so good. So I will walk when the weather is conducive to that, but I do yoga at home. I have a 2-story home that has a basement also. I go up and down the stairs on purpose. On purpose. I'll save laundry. I do 2 loads of laundry a day. So I'm constantly going up and down the stairs. I always give myself balanced breaks. Okay. So that I'm either in the kitchen and I'm cooking and I'm moving around, or I do something to get away from the computer and listen to my body. Some days, if I want to change the sheets on my bed, it might take me half a day to do it. Okay. Because I'm listening to my body. I'm doing what my body can handle at any given point in time. And then I'll take a break.
Nice. What kind of things do you do? Do you have any specific regimen to get rid of emotions that you don't want to stay in your mind?
There are 2 techniques that I do particularly. One is Lifeline technique, and the other one is the body code technique. And so the emotion code, which I mentioned earlier, is a part of the body code. So the emotion code finds the trapped emotions. And then the body code is a much larger program. And we find what's causing it. If it's a different kind of energy other than emotions that's causing the problem, if it's toxicity, if it's something energetically, if it's a pathogen. A lot of times pathogens are problems, and they're holding the pattern in the body. Structurally, for me, my structural system has been my weakest. Okay. And so I work with my body a lot and release those patterns from my body physically using emotion code or body code. And then also nutritional. It's great that the government puts out recommendations for eating. Okay. It's not totally accurate. It's just kind of an overview. And there are so many things. So for instance, we need magnesium. We need extra magnesium. Do you know what kind of foods contain magnesium?
Hmm.
Most people don't. The heart and the kidneys run on potassium. Most people, especially when we get older, don't know the foods that contain potassium. And so those are all very important to know.
What is the Lifeline technique?
Lifeline technique is a combination of a number of other standalone techniques that have been, some of them have been around for thousands of years. Some of them are newer. So they were put together by accident by Dr. Darren Weissman. I asked him one day, I said, this is brilliant. I said, how did you ever come up with this? Because there's a whole thing we have to follow. It's not in a straight line. And it depends on what the body is telling me based on applied kinesiology, which is muscle checking. And he said, it was the darndest thing. I was walking down the hall one day and all of a sudden it flashed before my eyes. And I stopped in my tracks and I knew if I moved, I would lose it. It's one of those times when the universe opens up to us and shows us our greatness. And that's exactly what happened with him. And he had somebody bring him a pencil and paper and he scribbled it out. And yeah, and he's improved it, over the years. And that's about 20 years old. And then the emotion code was developed by Dr. Brad Nelson, which many of you may know. And it was being developed, I would say simultaneously when Lifeline was young. Okay. And so that in my area, I live in a farming area, so people are very connected with the earth. Lifeline technique uses a hand mudra, the sign for I love you. Okay. Nikken, the Nikken, either the mag creator or the mag duo is used for the emotion code and the body code. And so in my area, people don't understand energy from infinite love and gratitude. What they do understand is magnets.
Oh,
okay. So it's something physical. So I roll the mag creator down their back, and then I will teach them, okay, how to use the mag duo and help them in identifying their emotions so that they can start clearing their emotions when they're not with me. I have a client on the east side of Wisconsin. I'm on the west side, and I've worked with her for years. And what I've done is I sent her the basic emotion code chart, and she would be on the phone with me for 2 hours complaining at times. And bless her heart, she was going through a lot of stuff that was really bad. And so I finally had to do some self-preservation and help her out financially. And by, because she was racking up a bill with me. And I said, okay, let's do this. Pull out your chart, start identifying the emotions. When you've cleared them all, call me back. I'll do the rest. And so I rarely speak with her now, okay, because she's getting along so well. And so part of what I do, it's also life coaching as a personal development facilitator. And having been around on this earth for a very long time, I've encountered a lot of things myself. And so I've worked through them. So I love to share that with people and share the benefit of my experiences and what I've learned with them as well.
Can you talk a little bit more on how we can identify our emotions? I've had several people ask me about that. And I recognize that people are in different levels, that some recognize quite immediately. Other people have to be hit on the head with a 2x4 to recognize that, that there's a way that they're approaching either themselves or other people that is not really healthy.
Yeah. As children, girls are taught not to be angry.
Mm.
Men are taught not to cry. And so that causes them to stuff their emotions, internalize them or deny them. And so as adults, they're disconnected. So those people have to be reconnected.
Mm.
To identify the emotions, I actually, the emotion code chart is really helpful for that. And you can find it anywhere on the internet, basically. You can just Google emotion code chart. Okay. And what I share with people is whatever emotions pop out at you, that's what you need to work on.
Mm.
Okay. That's what you're feeling. And so I like doing that because it's bringing them to an awareness that they haven't had before. And from there, if they want to move forward with anything else, they can move forward.
Do you have any of the people that you work with? Well, they can work with you, but do any of them, find little groups or even have a companion, like a accountability partner that they could bounce? Because after they've recognized, maybe they have the chart, and after they've recognized this has come up in me, I've noticed with the different energy workers that I've worked with, that as I talk out loud with them, then other things come up, in the mind that needed to come up. But I needed to have that conversation to get to that level.
Right. I usually do that with my clients one-on-one. And as far as groups, because of privacy, I cannot connect clients.
Mm.
Okay. So yeah, that's a constraint that I have as a practitioner.
Does anyone else have another question? I just thought of one and it'll come back.
I had not thought of it this way, but my son, who is now 42, has a really poor, conflictual kind of relationship with me. And my a very close girlfriend told me that she felt that when he was in a horrible car accident with my husband, his dad, at the age of 3, she said, Sandra, I always thought that accident did something to George, that he was not just traumatized, but something emotionally happened. And because the diagnosis afterwards was a BMI, she said, I really think something akin to a spiritual collision or something happened. So he has currently kind of cut off relationship with me or communication. And it's so pitiful because he's an only child. His dad is gone.
Mm.
I'm remarried. So whatever he's stacking up, I can see that it's going to be personally harmful for him. And he seems to be self-medicating with alcohol. But we don't talk. And he told me to just limit our conversation to my texting him, to which he doesn't respond. So my question or comment is, if I am supposing that something cognitively has been interrupted because of the act, I'm just open. So recently, I've just kind of taken care of myself. My husband and I have a really strong, good relationship, and I'm not cutting off my son, but I can't be responsible for his decisions.
Right. So are you asking what you can do for him? Is that it, Sandra?
Or emotionally, am I overlooking something? Because I know emotions are all up in it.
When we go back and look at the past, we each have a different view on situations that happen to us. Okay. We don't know what he's thinking
Correct.
and what his experiences were.
Right.
So I look at the situation from where it is right now, because we only know the present.
Right.
In situations like that, because I know I've had issues with my daughters also, and I send them love. That's it. And I ask God to bless them. And it's taken a long time, but it's starting to become better. Okay. I think what I'm hearing from you is more frustration. Okay. And helplessness. Maybe some powerlessness. And for that, I would suggest clear your own emotions before you can work with him. This is what always gets in the way, and this is what I learned. Before we can change anyone else, we have to change ourselves. Okay, we can't change anyone else. However, they will change when we change. And the universe will help us out when we do that. The universe will see the changes, that vibrational energy will go out. It will reach your son, and just continue to send him love.
Thank you. And has there been any foundation for thinking that that traumatic experience somehow was the impetus for what's going on now, or just let it go and deal with the present?
Let it go and deal with the present. We have no way of proving the past. Yeah. The only thing that can come of proving it from the past is more frustration and anger. We can't change it.
Correct.
All we can do is change the present.
So by sending out love, that's just lovely and very sweet, Caryn. That allows that genuine love, that allows that person then to, even if we're not really speaking to them, somehow the vibrations of love that go out allow them to feel more enfolded, more calm. And that's the thing that would allow them to change.
Yes. So you're probably familiar with Masaru Emoto's book on the hidden messages in water. Okay, so it's those water molecules. We have to change the water molecules in order to make that change possible, because the body is 70 to 90% water. Okay, and once that body is hydrating better with those water molecules, especially with PIMAG water from Nikken, then you're going to give yourself more of a fighting chance, and more of a successful chance. I like that word better. And that vibration will go out to your son somehow. It's law of attraction. And, you can definitely use law of attraction. I use all these tools. Okay. We have to, especially these days. Law of attraction, do some affirmations. Okay. Write out what it is that you want. So we're all taught to write out goals. This is a goal. Write your relationship out as a goal. It's like it's appearing on your life cycle plan.
I had a singing student who had spina bifida, and where the spine was outside, and they had to then surgically push it back in when she was born. So very pretty voice, but she always had to walk in on braces. And so part of learning how to sing is breathing. And we just weren't getting where we needed to with her breathing. And so I had to leave it with her and said, just put this in the back of your mind and you need to think about this. She came the next week and she said, I figured out what it was. I have had so many surgeries that when they put that, that cap on me for the anesthesia, that I go, and so that's how she was breathing. She was breathing instead of just this nice, allow air to enter your body. She was breathing like it was the last breath she was ever going to have in her life. Well, in that case, she wanted to know what was going on. In this case, and with some in my life too, they don't want to know. And so I think just like you said, having that faith and trust and sending out love. I have heard of things changing in the future just from doing that.
Yes, that's true. And you bring up a good point, Elaine. We are not taught the skills that we need to get through the challenges in our lives.
Wow.
Okay. Nobody teaches that. If we did, I think the world would be a much different place.
Well, thank you for teaching us today, all the way from Wisconsin, with a little bit of sunlight today.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
I am sure that what you said is so true, that we're not taught. In fact, for my dissertation, I did it on married couples because I wanted to know what in the heck was a successful marriage. And I was in one. I chose to be with him. He chose to be with me. And I'm thinking, if this is what we chose, what in the world is it? Yeah. So when I got a chance to study it, I really did. And it was amazing that we are not taught more basically. And now, post Nikken, I'm seeing that people don't necessarily receive the holistic approach because just one aspect of life is not going to fix anything. We're whole organisms, multifaceted. In fact, our facets have facets, and those facets have facets. So I am just so grateful for Elaine having this energy series. And you were absolutely stellar today, Caryn. I haven't seen you for a while. And I'm telling you, girl, you've lost some years. I'll say you released them. They're not lost because you're not going to go look for them.
Infinite love and gratitude.
There you go. But you look absolutely fabulous and you do look younger. And we had regular interactions over a period of time. So I do have something to compare it to. And I don't think it's just your haircut. I think it's you, your smile, your calmness. I'm just so thankful to you, Elaine, for having this series. And when I miss, it's not on purpose.
Well, I'm glad you didn't miss today. And Caryn, thank you again so much for spending your time with us and you took some really big ideas and you made it understandable. That is a real skill, lady.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I like to simplify life as much as possible.
Oh, that's good. You are good at doing that. Well, I will bid you all a good day. When I get it on YouTube, I'll send you the YouTube link so you can send out to anyone. And meanwhile, we're all going to go out and smile at people and send our love to them. And that'll raise their energy and it'll raise ours.
That's right.
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity, Elaine.
Thank you
all.
Have a good weekend. Bye.
Bye-bye.